for module CI6410. It is today the Thursday the 20th of November, and we are talking about assignment 2, which is an assignment to create a corporate pitch for a startup digital business. And we are going over the parameters of the job roles. We are working in teams, and today we're going over the parameters of the job roles. So to just summarize the project a little bit more, you are working in teams of 4 to 5 to develop and pitch a digital business idea to potential investors in a Dragon's Den simulation. Each member of the team must attend the assessment. The pitch must not be longer than 10 minutes. If it's succinct and to the point, it can be 8 minutes, so somewhere between 8 and 10 minutes. It can include a video, a PowerPoint, a Prezi, and a live demo of the product or service would be also excellent if you have the capability to do that. Otherwise, we will just look at proper mock-ups of the design that are professionally done. You can have a PowerPoint with a video as a part of it. If you like, a video is a very good sales tool, so I highly recommend that you do it, especially if you have a presentation producer role on your team. We're only interested in that 2 members of the team actually do the speaking on the day, but all members of the team must be available to answer questions pertaining to their role and contribution to their project. Your role and contribution to the project is assessed as the team via the pitch, but it is also assessed individually, and I will go further into that. And the individual assessment is actually greater. It's 60% versus the team assessment is worth 40%. So it's vital that you select your individual role for the project, because you will be assessed on how well you do that role, and I will explain the roles in a moment. So again, the steps: put yourselves in a team of 4 to 5 people, come up with a name for your business that ends in Ltd or Limited, decide on a general business arena or marketplace, articulate the problems in this marketplace, identify who the people are that are most impacted by this problem, and design a digital product or service that will solve this problem for the customer. I hope you noticed how customer focused we are here. This is all about the customer, not about your idea, but all again about the customer. Keep things customer focused. Who is that customer? Now, to find out more about who the customer is, you need to gather data and numbers on exactly how many customers might use your product. Once you've figured out who they are, how much money the business will earn from them. That is your 3 basic questions that you need. You need to research the market for competing ideas, and you will design your digital business offering using wireframes and other design tools that were explained in last week's lecture, and can be, I'll explain more if you want later. Evaluate your design by showing it to potential users who are your customers and asking them for feedback, and then incorporate the feedback to improve the design. This is an important step. You must talk to your potential customers before you build the thing. Now, your customers are inherently linked to revenue generation, because without any customers you have no people buying your stuff, and then you have no money. And if you have no money, you have no business. So it's really that linked. So you need to know, you need to quantify your customers now that you know who they are and what you're going to make for them. You need to quantify who they are, how much will they buy, and you need to set this against the cost of your design and the value of your design in terms of value for money, and how expensive it will be to get this design produced and into the market, and will it earn its money back, and how long will it take to earn its money back. It's very difficult to convert existing customers to a new idea, so you need to take that time lag into account when you're thinking about how long it will take to return your investment to the investor. Now, the assignment for this week, or the task for this week, is to choose or allocate team roles. You are all in teams of 4 or 5, and if you're not, you need to get yourself into a team ASAP. And these are the roles that you need to choose tomorrow, and we will put it on the Excel document. So you will either be the entrepreneur, the customer research person, the person responsible for revenue forecasting, the person responsible for product design, or the person responsible for producing the presentation. In a 4-person team, all of you will pitch in to do the presentation. You will choose your responsibilities from the top 4, and then you will all pitch in to do the presentation. And of course, we will take into account If you do not have a dedicated presentation producer, that the presentation may not be as slick or as professional as if you have someone dedicated only to that job. So I will, whoops. Sorry, I was going to get in there and put a bracket in, but I'll do that later. So each member of the team must adopt one of these 5 roles and take responsibility to contributing this information to the team presentation, and also gathering and keeping documented records of everything you do that you will have to submit as a part of your individual submission, which is worth 60%, which we will release on the brief later, but you must start keeping records now. So these are summaries. What's coming up here are summaries of the 5 job roles, so that you can select the one that most suits your personality and your talent. So the entrepreneur is the lead of the project, and she is the decision maker, the project lead, the person with the vision. He or she has an overview of the entire market, trends, has some business instincts, and a thorough understanding of the problem. And if you don't start out with a thorough understanding of the problem, by the time you give your pitch, you really need to know what that problem is, who it affects, and how your design is the ideal solution for this problem. You need to have your eyes open to the competition. The entrepreneur will supervise the business planning, and supervise everything really, oversee the customer research, the product design, and the revenue to make sure that they will set milestones and then make sure milestones are met. We'll also make sure that everybody is moving in the same direction, that the design and the customer research and the revenue are all talking about the same thing and not going off into silos and doing their own thing. Teamwork is a matter of communication, and the entrepreneur is the central hub of all of that communication, and his or her vote on any issue is the deciding factor in times of dispute. If for some reason your entrepreneur disappears and is not contactable, I would highly recommend that you nominate someone to replace the entrepreneur. This is not always crucial in all the other roles, but you do need the entrepreneur and the team leader. The next position is customer research, and these are not in order of importance. This is just order. This is the customer's best friend. This person knows everything about the customer: age, gender, income, location, schooling, social media, music, preferences, everything. This role understands the customer's needs and problems, and more importantly, why the customer will buy the product. You will only buy something that solves your need. You might buy something that you want, but for example, you might buy the iPhone 6, but you need a phone, so you will buy a phone. Whether it's the iPhone 6 or the Samsung 5, is again another option, but you've got to have a phone in this day and age. So that kind of thing. How great is this need? Is it a need or is it a want? With this information, the customer research person will estimate how many customers will buy the product or service the digital business is seeking to provide, and this data will be fed into the revenue projections. This role will create a strategy to build and retain the customer base, and this will also be fed into revenue projections and back to the entrepreneur. And this role will conduct user surveys to gather research data, which will feed into the product design. All customer research will feed into the product design, and then the customer research person will also make sure that the product designer is improving the design in accordance with what he thinks his customers were saying to him or her. The revenue forecaster, this role loves spreadsheets. You have an accounting brain. They're the person that proves the business can earn more money than it will spend over the time arc of the investment. This role will collect data regarding budgets from design, regarding income from customer research, and together with the entrepreneur will determine the size of the investment required to build the product or service, launch it in the market, and sustain the business till it generates enough sales revenue to turn a profit. The normal arc of investment, investors want to get their money back between 3 and 5 years, so that's how long you have to play for. So generally the first is a hockey stick kind of graph. We like graphs, and of course the hockey stick goes down, you get the investment, the hockey stick goes down and down and down until it hits the bottom, and then it goes up. You've got to have the upward thing, so you spend the money, and then you have income. But it's a really good idea that you don't run out of the money before you earn the income, and you will always spend more money than you think. Product design. The product design team is responsible for the creative workflow to take the product from idea to reality. This must mean that you keep good records of all design, and that everything, all stages of the process are made visual. through drawings and sketches and mock-ups. It's impossible for a team or any kind of design to contribute to a design or to process a design unless it is made visual. So you must, no matter how rudimentary these visual sketches are, it must be made visual, and then we will need to have proper mock-ups with screenshots. And if we can get some kind of a prototype on a phone, that will be worth more brownie points. The product design team is also responsible for budgeting and scheduling. How long will it take? And you need to know how much this design will cost to make, and how long it will take to make it, and where you're going to make it. That's all part of product design. It's not just sitting around drawing pretty pictures. You have to quantify it. And you need to work with customer research to make sure that what you are designing is what your customers are wanting. It's not what you want, it's what your customers want. But you might not always be able to do what your customers want, so you as a designer have to interpret what your customer wants into the design in a way that is cost effective. Now, the presentation producer, this can be one role in a team of 5, or in a team of 4, this role should be shared. This person is the corporate storyteller. This is the liaison between the business and the outside world, the person who tells the story of the business and provides the narrative that will immediately and succinctly convey to the investor and capture his heart, his or her heart, and other stakeholders why, in order to invest in this business and not the other. When you give your pitch, remember you will be one of 12 businesses giving your pitch, and Graham and I will be sitting there as investors, and we will be deciding, is it going to be this business we invest in or that business we invest in? And that's how the marks will be determined. Are we going to invest? Are we, wholeheartedly going to invest? Are we going to invest 500 grand? That might be an A. Are we just gagging to be part of this business, or are we very reluctant, which will not be an A? So it's up to you to sell us. And we need rocks, and the rocks are the numbers. So we need great ideas, but we also need the rocks of the numbers and the proof that there is an opportunity and you will make money, and also that your team is trustworthy. All of this comes out through the presentation, and you will need to gather together as part of your supporting documentation. You will need to gather together a storyboard, all of the numbers that you need from the revenue people, your customer profile. It would be great if you had a little film of a possible customer saying that they have this great need because they have an illness, because they can't get to the hospital, because they're waiting in long waiting lists, because they can't fix their car. You need to really look at your customer and include your customer in your presentation. It will make your presentation far more effective. So that is it, really. That is it for your roles. And the supporting documentation needs to be about 10 pages in length, and we can discuss this a little further once the brief is put up on StudySpace. But at the moment, these are the 4 or 5 roles, and by tomorrow in the workshop, you will need to put yourself in to choose one of these 5 roles that you will be responsible for. That's it.